Spider-Man No Way Home, the movie that's been spoiled numerous amounts of times just by trailers. Let's see how it pans out, shall we? Isn't the lighting in my bathroom just really great? Oh. Like, the sun is perfectly through that window right there, getting that, dude, this is pretty bad. Anyways, let's see the movie, shall we? Alright, so, final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Elliot, start.
That show's a 10 out of 10. Amazing movie.
Oh, by the way, no spoilers, okay? 0 spoilers allowed or you're banned.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, so basically what happens, scene 1, first thing we see is...
You mother... Okay, you're done.
That movie was everything I wanted and everything I didn't want. But it was a great movie. I was just confused.
Have you watched any of the other Spider-Man?
Yeah, but every other time I would look over and be like, "Where are they?" So, I mean, it was good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love Tom Holland, that's it.
I think the funniest part was when Romina turned to me and goes, "Why are they applauding for all the other spiders?"
It's just an American thing.
You have to do it.
That's true.
Airplane man.
Alright.
I cried for 80% of the movie, and half of it I was worried about my makeup more than the movie.
How is oh, there he is. Obby.
Boys, it's Obby.
Obby.
Main pisser
Obby.
Thank you.
Now, give your thoughts. No spoilers. We will kill you if you spoil anything.
No spoilers, okay.
Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's split this review up to 3 sections. People who have not seen the trailer and for some reason is watching a review, people who have seen the trailer and are deciding whether to view it or not, and spoiler talk. It's pretty unusual that I would split up a video like this, but I think this movie calls for that because of how the advertising and trailers were handled. Anyways, so, if you have not seen any trailers and have kept yourself in the dark for the most part, watch this movie. You obviously care enough about it to not get spoiled. It is good. And I'll just leave it at that. Go watch it. Anyways, hi! You've probably seen the trailer and are wondering if this movie is worth your time. Yes, it is. It's very good. On the caveat of it relies a lot on your prior knowledge of Spider-Man. It's kind of like Spider-Man Endgame, where there's a lot of it. I'd say a good 40 to 50% of it that are payoffs that rely on prior knowledge of the series. Now, of course, there's actual good stuff in there. I think this is the movie where Tom Holland's Spider-Man really becomes a man. This is his real core. He performs excellently here. And people who are fans of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, this is probably his best development yet in the entire series. As far as the villains that you've seen in the trailers, they do serve a core part of the story. They don't just show up as cameos and leave. You can expect them to be there for a while. Overall, this story is good. It's a good, fun joyride. If you've been a fan of, if you've watched all the previous Spider-Man movies, this movie is a great treat. If you haven't watched any of those movies, well, it's kind of like walking into Endgame blind. You might enjoy it still. There might be spectacular moments, but there won't be those real connection moments where you felt like you've seen these characters' journey prior to this, and it's all culminated to this. So that's great. Yeah, you see all those amazing characters. You get payoffs of those villains from the previous movies. But talking about the main cast of this, Doctor Strange works great. He is an excellent foil to Spider-Man, and the Spider-Man's core identity and moral in this movie is good. You really figure out who Peter Parker is once you take away a lot of the things that were just given to him in the MCU, that a lot of the fans of the previous Spider-Man didn't like, how he was so connected to Tony Stark and these things. I'd also say that the supporting cast of MJ and Ned are great. They work good. They're friends, they're kids, and their dynamic clashes well together. So, all in all, Spider-Man No Way Home, I would give this a 86%. Very, very good score. I loved this movie a lot. It was very spectacular. It has those spectacle moments that really brought me to tears of just how epic everything was and just taking that in. It's kind of like how I felt when watching Endgame. I brought this comparison up probably 2 times now, but I hope you get my point. This is Tom Holland's Spider-Man's watershed moment. This is a character-defining movie for him, and any fans of him, you'll love this movie. It really takes him to places that you've not seen this character in before. For the returning Spider-Man fans who follow this character for forever, it's a phenomenal movie. You see a lot of characters that you recognize. There's a bunch of cheeky little references, and also there's a lot of payoffs that build on top of these characters. All in all, it both stays true to every character that features in this movie and manages to give them enough screen time to whereas they're not just mere cameos, to whereas they all have a certain impact on this story and the direction of this story. And where it ends, I'm really curious on what it does next. It gave this kind of endgame effect, however, where I felt this movie kind of tied a nice little bow on Spider-Man. And anything going forward, I don't know how interested I'll be in it, but it'll probably still be good, but this was just an epic event, like Endgame, that wrapped things up. Oh yeah, and also I do have to say that, yeah, the trailer does spoil a lot of it. A good first half of the movie is the trailer. And as someone who's watched the trailers, I do feel like that my enjoyment would have skyrocketed if I did not know of what's up in the trailer. However, there's positives and negatives to how much they showed in the trailer. Negatives of you ruined a lot of surprise, but positives of you hinted at these things, which then allowed people who have not seen the previous Spider-Man movies to watch those first before coming to this movie. Because they might be like, oh, I don't know that character yet. Do I need to know that character? I probably do. Let me watch that movie, which then they'll find a lot more enjoyment out of this movie. So, yeah, there's that to it. And also this movie doesn't start at a very coherent spot. It leaves right off of Far From Home. So you have to be following Spider-Man. If you haven't watched anything and you hop into this, you'll be like, huh? What's up? I'm so confused. You'll be like Rob. And you don't want to be like Rob. Anyways, now then, let's talk about spoilers. Let me just give a brief breather for spoilers for you guys to click off who do not want to be spoiled. Please, if you know, you know, there's heavy-ass spoilers in this movie. Please click off. I'm going to stall for another few seconds. Ready? Okay, spoiler talks time. This movie was really character-defining for Peter Parker. Tom Holland's Peter Parker, that is. And, wow, I did not expect them to take it to the places that they did. At the end, it was really dark. He essentially loses literally everything. No Way Home, it stays true. No one knows him anymore. It's really sad. It's one of the most horrific things that could happen to a person, being erased from literally anyone's memories. But it's what he learned from his mistake at the beginning of wanting too much. And also, there's just, wow, how they killed off Aunt May, creating that origin for Peter Parker. That was heartbreaking. Yeah, it had to be Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. He was so well delivered. He's just such a menace. Easily the evilest Spider-Man villain that we have ever seen. Willem Dafoe's Spider-Man. And he's so scary. Also, Dr. Octopus, Doc Ock. Yeah, he was great. Jamie Foxx's Electro improved, but still, I think, a meh character. And Sandman and Lizard kind of rarely featured. But it is what it is. I like Sandman from the originals, and Lizard is Lizard. I guess they're okay. They're not focused on too much, but as someone who knows the previous movies, I appreciate their existence. But yeah, there's just so many payoff moments and so many laugh out loud references. When Willem Dafoe was like, I'm something of a scientist myself, I popped off. People in the theater were probably really annoyed of what I was saying, but still, I loved it. It was great. And I think we've delved enough into spoilers, whereas most spoiler people have clicked off. Yeah, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Boy, their entrances. Man, there's so many moments that just got my theater howling. One of the moments was when all three Spider-Man were just swinging, and all three of those scores just coalesced together into this beautiful symphony. Truly does bring a tear to my eye. Tobey Maguire is a lot older in this version. He's the matured Spider-Man. He's learned, he's wiser, and the advice that he's able to give Tom Holland's Peter Parker to work him through this section, as well as basically redeeming himself by saving Willem Dafoe. It's just great. The greatest mistake in his life was not being able to save his best friend and his best friend's father, and he redeems this here. And then also, he teaches Peter Parker, well, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, to choose mercy. Revenge is not worth it. He sees a part of himself in that little kid, and as the wise mentor, he steps in and guides him. That was really wonderful. Andrew Garfield as the not as wise, but also still grown up and more gritty version of Spider-Man, who became brutal, and after Gwen Stacy's death, being able to save MJ here and redeeming himself from his past failures, that was one of the best moments of the entire movie. And Andrew Garfield just gives his A game in this movie. He is spectacular. And it does a lot for his character overall. He's just, wow. He's an amazing actor, and he really brings it all here. And just seeing all three Peter Parkers interact, it's amazing. Like, it's actually a dream come true. Being able to see all three of these actors work together and bring their different aspects of Peter Parker into this. Tom Holland knowing teamwork, being the youngest of them, and these two seeing a part of himself in this Peter Parker, and being able to comfort him when he just lost his Uncle Ben. That's wonderful. That was such a great moment, and it really brought a smile to my heart. Also, Doctor Strange's involvement. Yeah, great. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's really funny, and he serves as this character who serves as a foil to Peter's optimism. He is more neutral, he sees things more objectively, and he's more interested in restoring order than saving everyone. And how much more Spider-Man is this Peter Parker, where he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to save all of these villains. I'm not going to kill any of them. That is the most Spider-Man thing ever, and this movie totally does his character so well. And I just love that. But yeah, the ending, it's such a somber place to end things, but it's so interesting. He's now broke, he's living in a crappy apartment, and, well, he needs to be that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man with his own crappy suit. He doesn't have Stark anymore. And that final funeral scene with Happy, by the way, that hurt a lot. Because when I saw Happy behind him, I was like, oh, hey, finally someone to comfort the boy. And then he was like, so how'd you know her? And then I'm like, fuck, shit. The ending happened. No one remembers him anymore. And that's just really sad. I hope Venom would have appeared in the movie more, but that's only a minor complaint. And I don't think his character would have fit well into the MCU anyways, so the fact that he's been transported back, that's cool. Can't wait for Venom 3. Can't wait to shit all over that movie. But yeah, I love this movie. I thought it was phenomenal in its themes and in its execution of its characters. And also in its payoffs of being a Spider-Man fan. Yep. Lovely movie. Loved it a lot. How did you guys feel about the movie? For me, it kind of feels like this movie filled my MCU Spider-Man craving. I felt like I've seen more or less the end of this character. I don't know where they're going to take him next with that ending, but I can definitely envision how his life continues from then. And it's a bunch of stories that I think I've seen before. So I don't know how much more interested I am in this character after this movie, but this movie definitely served as a very nice period at the end of a story. And that's what I like about these movies. Sometimes things just shouldn't go on forever. And I think this is a nice little bow tie at the end of it all. But you know, they're probably gonna make more movies. Come on. These make so much money. There's no way they're gonna not capitalize off of Tom Holland's success as Spider-Man. But still, that's what I thought about the movie. What do you think about the movie? Please let me know. Anyways, that's it. See you next time. Wow, it's almost the end of the year. Oh boy.